Hello, everybody. What is up? Welcome to episode number 1122,896 of the Nobody Asked For This podcast. Imagine if those were today's lottery numbers. What a coincidence that would be. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to 2025. When you last heard from me, in a technical sense, it was both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Because it was the evening of Christmas Eve, like, in theory, but it had passed midnight. For whatever reason, I was up at like 2 or 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve, and I thought, you know what, I can't work Christmas Day, because this podcast is a job, you know? So I recorded on Christmas Eve so that I didn't have to worry about it on Christmas Day, because I'm just that much of a professional podcaster. Obviously, duh. So, yeah, that was me. That was my situation on that particular episode. And I'm so happy to say that I am recording from not the future, because, like, compared to last episode, it's the future. It's 2025. We made it to 2025. I was unsure. There was a second there where I was like, 2025, that sounds like a big number. Like, maybe, you know, I think the world was supposed to end in 2012. Like, maybe they calculated wrong and it was really 2025. No, we made it. We have officially landed in 2025. And I'm excited. There's a lot of things we're going to do this year. We can get into it a bit later. I can maybe throw out some of my New Year's resolutions. Wow, we could interpret that both ways. You could interpret it as throw them out there, like get them out there, or throw out, like, just toss in the can because it's going to be January 2nd tomorrow and we know that none of these resolutions are happening. But at least for January 1st, I am going to look on the positive side. Because that's how I'm feeling, you know? We gotta be positive. Like, if you can, you know? Obviously, bad things happen and you can't be positive all the time. But if you can look in the mirror and say, if you are lucky enough to have positivity be an option, I think you should choose it. You know? But it is a privilege to have that option to choose happiness, because sometimes it's not there. I don't know why I turned into Oprah or Dr. Phil, or, like, what's that other guy who's, like, always, like, telling you what to do? Don't listen to me, I know nothing. But I just felt like I wanted to say that on this here January 1st. And don't worry, the other 364 days of the year, I'll be like negative Nelly all the way. But for today, I wanted to just kind of bring some positivity. So, yeah. I like to set the scene for these episodes. So I am in the car, where I belong, really. Obviously, it's a holiday, so the traffic hasn't been so bad. Traffic is weird. You would think, like, holiday traffic sounds terrible. For some reason, the traffic takes a break too. I don't know if it's like the lack of school happening, or, which, by the way, I'm starting to feel. Do you know, I was saying a couple episodes ago, like, there is nothing like that last day of elementary school before winter break, and then the whole, like, week and a half of my winter break was always, like, my Christmas break was always 2 weeks. I feel like I've heard people be like, yeah, we're off for a month. I'm like, you're off for a month? What school do you go to, and is there an extra spot? But we were off for about 2 weeks. Like, by the time you factored in the weekends, it was like maybe closer to 2.5 weeks. But that first week and a half was pure bliss. You had Christmas. You had even, like, the Boxing Day situation, back when Boxing Day was a thing. We can talk about what has happened to Boxing Day, because it's a travesty and a tragedy. It's both. I don't know which one's worse. I'll have to look up the definitions later. Maybe Miriam can help us with that. But, what was I saying? What was the travesty? Oh, the Boxing Day sales, yes. But then, once New Year's came around, you're like, shoot. Like, you can start hearing the school bells chime again. You know, like, we're coming back soon. There were some years where, like, you had to go back to school, like, January 2nd. or January 3rd. That's terrible. The best was when it was like January 7th, because then on New Year's, you're like, okay, I still have some time. There's still time. Now, New Year's being on a Wednesday, like, I'm not into these holidays being on Wednesdays, because here's the thing. You're expected to work Monday, Tuesday, for the most part, which that's fair. Like, it's a Monday and a Tuesday, like, you should be working. But then it's like, am I really going to come back on Thursday and Friday and then, like, have another 2 days off? No. And, like, am I then expected to, like, perform? Technically, like, you're not getting paid any less for that day, so you should, like, do as good of a job at your job as possible. But it's just like, what is the incentive here? I guess the money that you're being paid is the incentive, but you know what I mean. It just doesn't feel like productive. I think we should all just close our doors from, honestly, December 1st to February 1st, and I hate February, so maybe we can extend that break to March. I think we should just take, like, a worldwide, what is that called when professors get, like, a month, or like a sabbatical? We all just need to take a sabbatical. I think we would be more productive. Although I would do nothing productive with my sabbatical. If I got one. I would, like, say I was going to read all these books that I didn't. And I would say, oh, I'm going to do this, like, extra project, and wouldn't. You have to know thyself. If I've learned nothing else in my decades on this planet, know thyself. Anyway, I hope everyone had a great 2024. Let's do a quick recap. 2024 and the Nobody Asked for This podcast. What did we achieve? Okay, so nothing's, like, super pressing. I would still say our biggest achievement to date, and I haven't talked about this in a while, so I'm glad I have an opportunity to bring it up, but we did, in fact, chart in Finland, the Finnish comedy iTunes podcast charts. I believe we debuted at number 117 or something. So well within the top 200, which says a lot about the comedy podcast landscape, at least as tracked by Apple in Finland. But yeah, so there's that. But that was a highlight of 2022, and I can't say we topped it in 2024 or 2023 for that matter, but it's a new dawn, it's a new day. We are going to let's crack the top 100 of the Finnish, was it Sweden or Finland? No, it was Finland. The Finnish Apple comedy podcast charts. That is my New Year's resolution. Put that on the dream board. I should do a dream board. What would be on my vision board? What do I envision? Not much. Have I told you all that I want to skydive? Also, I haven't done this disclaimer in a while. If it sounds like I think that I'm talking to people, just know that I know that there's nobody there. Like, if you are in Finland and happen to scroll upon this because you saw us in the top 100 charts, just know, like, I'm not, like, delusional and think that I'm talking to a bunch of people. I know it's a smaller crowd. And I love that smaller crowd. But I just haven't given that disclaimer in a minute. So I did just want to say that. But I just sometimes feel self-conscious about saying, like, and then you guys can let me know in the comments. Like, I know that there's a smaller audience whom I love. What would be on my dream board? Okay, peanut butter. I talked last episode, I believe, how I'm in, like, a peanut butter phase and trying to try all the different brands of peanut butter. Since we last spoke, I believe I have tried the Teddy's brand, which I hadn't ever heard of Teddy's before. So I was very interested because the logo is a bear who's, like, not like your average bear. Like, he looks like a cool bear. Just Google, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google the Teddy's peanut butter logo. I got the crunchy kind. I believe there was salt added. It was delicious. And the texture was good. There was lots of crunchy peanuts and stuff. I have to say, switching over to crunchy peanut butter, if you asked me 2 months ago, what type of peanut butter do you like? I really think, I can't fully remember, but I think I would have, like, hardly argued in favor of smooth. and almost like smooth, like no stir, where you can just put the spoon in and it's like icing sugar. And there's a place for that. And it's called frosting. No, I think all peanut butter is great. I do not judge anybody if you go and get Jif or Skippy, but I'm trying to expand my peanut butter horizons, because I've really reached the ceiling in a lot of areas of like regular peanut butter, so I kind of needed to expand, and this was my next horizon. So I've been trying like the crunchy versions and the maybe more natural versions. Now the problem with the natural versions is you have to like, it's basically like a part-time job, making sure that like you have it upside down and you have to stir it. And I know there's like special peanut butter stirrers, and I hope to one day launch a product line that's like a nobody asked for this peanut stirrer, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're in good company, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But it's like this like thing that looks like a churn device that you put at the top of the peanut butter, and I believe that it like pokes a hole. No. It's a lid for the peanut butter that you put on, and then there's like a whisk attachment, and you screw the lid on and then pull the crank, the handle. Am I inventing something, or does this exist? Let me Google it. One sec. Peanut butter stirrer device. They've truly thought of everything. Santa should have brought me this. Like, if he really knew. You better watch out. Okay, let me just confirm. Yes, okay, so it looks like the lid for the peanut butter, but it comes with the stirring device. Maybe I need to get this. $25. I don't know about that. I'm going to think about it. But anyway, the heart of the matter is Teddy's peanut butter, I approve. The taste was there. It wasn't too salty. I would give it like a 9. And I have no taste, as I've discussed a lot on this podcast, but I would give it a 9. Texture, I'm going to give an 8, just because it slightly is a bit like pasty. Like, do you know when peanut butter like becomes a little bit toothpastey? Like we weren't there yet, we were getting there. Like, do you know that? What is the toothpaste that it has like the streaks in it? Like, it's like the whitening toothpaste that like probably doesn't need to be different colors than it is, but it has that streak in it that's like kind of crunchy. Like, it kind of has a texture of toothpaste a little bit, which isn't the peanut butter's fault. It's actually the toothpaste's fault. The toothpaste should stop trying to copy peanut butter so that we're not confusing the two. But for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8. And then overall, what is that, 8.5? So Teddy's, you're doing great. I can't wait to enjoy the rest of the jar. Oh, also, speaking of snacks, there's actually a new Queen Elizabeth. I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know this was dropping. You know, we've talked about former Queen Elizabeth. We don't really talk about her anymore, to be honest. But we did in the early days of the Nobody Asked for This podcast, because that was around the time that what happened. And we don't talk about really any other current events because no one listens, or not many people listen to this currently. And if for some reason in 7 years, you know, I go viral and people are buying the Nobody Asked for This peanut butter stirrer, then I want them to be able to listen to the episodes as if they just came out, because I'm just rambling about nothing, and I can ramble about nothing in 2022 and you can listen to it in 2027, and it's just a ramble. Like, it's still like, it's not going to make any much less sense than it did now than it will then, you know? That's case in point. But we did talk about Lizzie a lot. We made an exception for Lizzie. But we all know that we haven't had a Queen Lizzie in a while, and there's a new one now. And she makes granola. I have gone through bags of, not Truly. What is that? What is the granola? Purely Elizabeth granola? I don't know who Elizabeth is. I don't even know how you make granola. Like, you give me like an Oreo cookie, I can kind of see like how it got there. Like, I'm sure there's like huge industrial sized mixers that like mix the batter and I bet you the cream is like literally just icing sugar. Like, it's the cream in the Oreo is probably what they add to peanuts in like the Skippy factory. So it could be at the same factory, who knows? And like just the cream doesn't get added to peanuts and then it becomes Oreos. But like, I know how an Oreo got here. I have no idea how granola got here. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I just know that it's delicious. And I know that Queen Elizabeth of Purely Elizabeth, is it Truly or Purely? I think it's Purely. She knows how to make granola. I found in the store, actually the same store that I bought the Teddy's peanut butter, a cookie granola. And I love cookies and I love granola, so I thought this is for me. It is delicious. I have since gone to Costco and retrieved a even bigger bag of just like the original, I think it's like the sweet and salty, just regular granola from this same company. It's amazing as well. There's so many other different flavors. I'm trying to pace myself. Because if you haven't been able to tell, I'm a little bit all or nothing. So if I like something, I have to love it. I have to buy all of it. I have to get all of the flavors. I have to spend all of my money. And then just try my best to eat all of the granola before it goes stale in the back of the cupboard. So I am pacing myself here. But so far we're off to the races. So if you see the Elizabeth cookie granola, grab a bag. Or if you see the other flavors, they're like the perfect texture. There's different, like some of them are like big pieces and some of them are small pieces, which I'm used to in a granola because, like I said, I usually buy things like in big batches. So like by the time I get to it, some of the pieces are like have either been crushed so they're really small or have like stuck together because like they've just been sitting there. So all that to say, if you want a killer breakfast, get some Elizabeth granola, Queen Elizabeth granola, some Teddy's peanut butter, and then of course we can't forget the Greeks. We got to get the yogurt. Whoever invented Greek yogurt, my new best friend. Greek yogurt, granola, peanut butter. You're good to go. Now I am acting like I invented the yogurt parfait, but what I do is not. I don't know how this became. Let me talk about my breakfast, but it's kind of all like this is the most strung together a thought pattern of mine has been, because it's all of these tangents are coming together in one bowl of Greek yogurt parfait. Now let me tell you how I make my Greek yogurt parfait. I do the yogurt as a clump on one side. I do the granola as a pile on one side. And I do the peanut butter on the side as like kind of a dip. Not on the side, like in the bowl, but like kind of as that third, like that peace sign, or like the plate that you give a toddler because they don't want their food to touch. I do that with granola or with my Greek yogurt, and I'll do like a scoop of yogurt. I'll pick up a cluster of granola. What a great word. A cluster of granola, dip it in the peanut butter, and you're good to go. And sometimes I've gotten crazy sometimes and mixed it all in, and it just doesn't taste the same. Like I like to. It's not that I don't like food to touch. Like I could care less about that. Like I love mixing stuff. I love sauces. Like all of that. That's great. But for some reason, I just like to be able to control like the ratio, and I want to taste all the different flavors. From the different platters. So if you haven't tried to make a Greek yogurt parfait like that, I would recommend it. Do the dipping method, If you really wanted to get crazy, you could take one of the granola clusters and like physically dip it in the yogurt and then actually dip it in the peanut butter, and that would be good too, I think. And then also sometimes I just want a bite of the granola, or I just want a bite of the peanut butter, like just a little, couple grams of the peanut butter. And honestly, sometimes I just need just like a hit of yogurt. Even though I do stand behind Greek yogurt is delicious, it kind of tastes like sore throat. Does anyone else agree with that? Like, Greek yogurt kind of tastes like day 8 of a sore throat. Like, it, or at least makes your throat feel reminiscent of day 8 of a sore throat, where, like, it doesn't hurt anymore, but you just have that, like, I don't know if it's acid or, like, I don't know what it is, clearly. And I'm not explaining it well, but there's something that it just has, there's an element of strep throat to Greek yogurt. Or just, I'm going to leave the Greeks alone. There's an element of strep throat to yogurt. But I don't mind the taste of just like, there you go. And if you wanted to get crazy, you could maybe put some berries on top. Or a little drizzle of honey just for a little sweetness. Or honestly, just have ice cream. That works too. You know? I think it sounds like I'm trying to be a health guru. Have ice cream. This is just for, you know, just for the palate that I'm trying to retrain to be a little bit more sophisticated. Even though, like, I really promise I'm not someone that, like, the food doesn't touch. And I respect if that is you at any age. But, like, that's not why I have the three platters. You know what I mean? I just like the different options. Because it feels like sauces and dips, which I love. I have, like, drawers and... Not drawers. What is that word? When it's, like, when you open the fridge and there's, like, the tiers. What is that called? Shelves and... Oh, my gosh. Shelves and shelves in the fridge are full of... not shelves and shelf. It's, like, shelf and a half of hot sauces. And you just dip. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest. 2025 is not off to a great start in terms of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I do apologize. I didn't mean to start talking about peanut butter and Greek yogurt strep throat. But I did. And it's only up from here. But I do just want to mention what the heck happened to Boxing Day. For anyone that doesn't know, Boxing Day, I don't know if it's like a global thing or if it's more of like a Canadian thing, but it's essentially was the Black Friday equivalent in Canada. Like, because obviously Black Friday is the day after American Thanksgiving. In Canada, you don't really celebrate American Thanksgiving unless you're me and like any excuse to have cornbread and stuffing and everything. But Black Friday has since, I want to say in the last 5 to 10 years, has become more of a thing in Canada. And I think with the rise of Black Friday, we have seen the fall of Boxing Day. Because there used to be like door buster, door crasher deals. People would line up. People would eat Christmas dinner in line at Best Buy, just waiting for the doors to open at midnight or whatever, so that they could go and get a like 50-inch plasma screen TV for $7.50. Like, that's the type of deals that were happening on Boxing Day and Black Friday. And those types of deals do not exist. In fact, I didn't see one Boxing Day commercial. I heard rumors of like, it's Boxing Week coming up, but like, what is Boxing Week? We wanted one day. They've stretched out the deals across like a week, which for some reason runs like closer to 10 days. I don't know if that's like a marketing thing. But it'd be like Boxing Week happening from December 18th to January 2nd. I'm like, that's like 2 weeks, but okay, sure. And the sales are 10% off, 15% off. And listen, in these dark times, I'll take whatever you can get. I'll take 1.5% off. Just take whatever percents you're willing to take off. Just take them and keep them. But it's just not what it used to be. And I'm not old enough to have really experienced a true Boxing Day or Black Friday, because I didn't have money. Like, my piggy bank wasn't necessarily full in its heyday. But I can still dream, you know? I've heard the stories. I've heard the legend of people knocking people over like it's a carnival to get to like the last holiday Barbie or whatnot. And I just don't see that happening anymore. And not that I'm condoning, like, civilians acting not civil. But it's just like, at least there was some spirit there, you know? But everyone obviously be nice and polite and well measured. But, you know, it's just, it's a new dawn. It's a new day. I believe I have dried peanut butter on my finger. How fitting. I just need a chunk of granola to go with it. And call that an afternoon snack. Anyway, what else would be on my vision board? Okay, so ultimate vision board is having my own line of peanut butter stirrers. Second on the vision board would be having my own peanut butter. Third on my vision board would be getting invited to Buckingham Palace to make granola with the Queen Elizabeth. You know what? I'm gonna make peanut butter, or just a nut butter. You know, let's expand our horizons. I'm gonna make a nut butter, and I'm going to make granola in 2025. Can you make yogurt? I feel like you can. Let me Google that. Can you make... I mean, I guess... like, obviously, like, it's made, you know? Okay. I'm going to make... because I just Googled it. I found a recipe. I'm going to make my Greek yogurt... is it called a parfait? If it's my Greek yogurt platter... completely by scratch. Not including the bowl. I'm not going to, like, go to a pottery class. Like, that would be too much. But I'm going to make everything else. Not the spoon. I'll just honestly just use my finger. Just use a cluster to dip. A granola cluster. But I'm going to do a completely homemade Greek yogurt platter by December 31st, 2024. No. In which case I failed. 2025. I think I can do it. Which flavors should I do? I'm so excited. I have to get researching. I'm the type of person where, like, I love the brainstorming process. I love starting a project. I love pricing everything out. I love seeing, like, where to get the best ingredients, where to get the best equipment. I love going on Airbnb and, like, almost renting a recording studio. And then going to bed, waking up the next day, and never thinking about it again. I've done that with so many things. I was going to write a screenplay, didn't do that. I was going to, like, start being a producer and produce beats, didn't do that. But, like, did I Google the software for all of this? Yes. Did I price out where would be a cheap recording studio? I did. But actually, you know what? I did do one thing. I got to give myself a little bit more credit. There's one thing I followed through on. It's the Nobody Asked for This podcast. That is the one thing that I have followed through on. That it was a project that I started that I don't know that you can technically finish a podcast. I guess you can just stop doing it and then it's done. But there you go. What a nice way to end 2024 and step into 2025. Is this In 2025, the Nobody Asked for This podcast will turn 2 or 3. 3. I think we're about 2.5. It is very possible that the Nobody Asked for This podcast is, like, potty trained. And, like, potentially, like, going to, like, preschool, daycare. They grow up so fast. If you've liked what you've heard, which, to be honest, this episode, like, if you're on the fence, maybe, like, if you've listened to this episode and you've thought, absolutely not, why does this person sound like they have a sinus infection? Are they social distancing? You know? I don't. That's just my natural voice. If you've thought, like, there's no way you could enjoy this, then it's probably not for you. I appreciate the listen. If you want to just kind of keep the podcast player going, like, even while you're sleeping, just so that I get the streams, like, go for it. But, like, no problem. You don't have to listen. But if you listened to this episode and thought, maybe this was just an off day, like maybe another episode is good, give me one more chance. I don't know which episode to send you to. But just, like, do a random scroll and find one. There might be a good one in there for you. And if you happen to like what you hear, then you'll love the other ones because it's only up from here. All of that to say, I hope everyone has had an amazing 2024. I hope we're going to have an even better 2025. I have to say, the end of 2024, like, December was a bit rough, to the point where it turned me into a person that's like, 2025 is going to be so much better. Everything's going to change. New beginnings in 2025. I used to make fun of those people. But then I needed a new beginning in 2025, as you can hear. And suddenly I became one of them. So fingers crossed, new year, new me, 2025. Even though, like, it's probably just going to be the same thing of 2024. Like, it's just a month. But you know what I mean. We're gonna be positive. If you've liked what you heard, you can go to podcastnobodyaskthis.podbean.com. On there, you can listen to the episodes. You can get links to our Spotify podcast. We have social medias. They haven't been updated in, I think, almost a year. That's another anniversary we'll celebrate. But regardless, I hope everybody has a great start of the year. Health, happiness, joy, granola, homemade or otherwise, peanut butter, or like almond butter if you have allergies or taste preferences or whatever. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this year. Good things coming. And I want to skydive. Okay, bye.